Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining me. In this session, we're going to focus on an exercise known as the bird dog. You can call it what you want. There's many different variations. We're going to start on our hands and knees. Now, if being on your hands and knees does not work for you because it feels uncomfortable to your wrist, you might want to find some props that will help elevate your palm, the heel of your hand, higher than your fingers, like two evenly rolled up towels or two weights to hold on to. I'm not recommending you put pressure on your knuckles, but just having a weight to hold on to that elevates your hand off the floor without putting pressure on your knuckles can be really helpful for a lot of people. You need to find a space and a place where your spine is nice and long. Wrists are under shoulders, knees are generally under your hips, spine nice and long. Things to watch out for here before you even start is that your lower back isn't rounding, your head's not lifting one way or the other, and that can be difficult to find. So think of pushing the floor away from you and lifting your tailbone up to the sky behind you, kind of like a ski jump or a duck's tail, just a little bit, right? Doesn't have to be a lot, just a bit of a natural curve there, like your neck. So your neck and your lower back have two of the same similar matching curves. Now, the focus here is to reach one arm and the opposite leg at the same time without disturbing your alignment of your spine. The toes and fingers can stay on the floor. And then return. I encourage you looking down at the floor between your hands. Then you repeat that, or you do the other opposite arm and leg with disturbing your spine as minimally as possible. Again, fingers and toes on the floor here is a supportive place to start. When your hands and hand and or toes leave the floor, you lose the tactile feedback from the floor and the support that you get from that tactile feedback. It makes it a lot more difficult. Easy breathe, one more time. Reach and lengthen. Great. Now, I'll show you from this view. We're going to start similarly, right? Something that we also want to focus on is as you reach the arm and leg out, you don't shift your weight over to the side, right? So you've got to really make sure you pour weight down to the arm that stays so the hips don't translate over to the side. And then when you switch, you pour your weight into the other arm so the hips don't shift over markedly to the side, right? So not only are you not moving your spine, trying not to move it forward, back, you're also trying not to go side to side. You're also trying not to twist one way or the other, right? Those are the major goals of this exercise. Of course, without pain or strain, always, right? Now, once you've got that down, the next level is you can start on the floor and finish with one arm and or one leg in the air, and then return. You can slide on the floor to start. You can keep the toes down and lift the hand, keep the fingers down and lift the foot, or lift them both as you want to go along. Again, I'm not translating my hips to one side or the other. I'm not lifting my gaze to look forward across the room. I'm not rounding my spine, all these knots, right? All these things of what not to do. I am having a good time. I am enjoying thinking about all of these things as I do what looks like a very simple exercise from a spectator perspective. This does not look like much. However, to do all of these things adequately, it takes a lot of focus, right? One more each arm and leg, taking your time, looking at the floor in front of you. Really great job. Now, even with the foot on the floor, what also tends to happen is that the hip will lift up. It'll rotate the hip as the leg reaches out, right? So even with the foot on the floor, people tend to rotate the same side hip up of the leg that's moved. It's challenging to keep the hips level to the floor as that leg reaches out, right? So that's something else to think about as well. That as the leg specifically goes out, the hip does not lift to move the leg out. So that's where that small arch to your lower back can really be helpful, right? To think about maintaining that. Now, once you've got those variations under your belt, you can try and, without changing the shape of your lower back, lifting your knees up off the floor and just hover one foot at a time, right? Keeping your body right where it is, looking down between your hands. Excellent job there. That's right. One at a time, one more each way. You're doing really well. Great job there. Knees gently down. All right? A different variation you can do without lifting your knees up is just to pick up the hand and foot off the floor without moving the arm and leg long. It's a different feeling. And with this variation, people will want to, again, twist their hip, but they're also going to let their head drop frequently, right? So you're pushing the floor away quite strongly, like you're holding a door closed, like the floor is a door that you're trying to push closed strongly the whole time, right? Reaching out to the crown of your head. Nice. You can do the same thing with your knees. Hover just one hand at a time. Easy, right? It's really quite challenging, and there'll be some minimal shifting side to side, but that is totally permissible. But that can be rough on people's wrists, right? Now, a different variation that you can do is going to be on your side. You're going to have one foot forward, other foot back. Front knee bent, foot on the floor, bottom leg back behind you. Just pressing the hips up here. Easy breathe. And then down. Great job. Push and drive up. 4. Really good job. And then return. This is a counter move for facing the floor the whole time. 3, because you want to strengthen your body 360. All the way around. So front facing the floor, sides facing the floor, back facing the floor. 2, as much as you can. Breathe deeply. Control. Breathe deeply. So even though it's not an opposite arm and leg coordination thing, you are using the one elbow and the opposite foot quite strongly, right? Yes, you're using both legs here, but the legs are oriented a little bit differently. So I realize this may not be in a lot of people's booklet of bird dog exercises, but you are using one elbow and the opposite foot a lot. Yes, the bottom leg is down, but you can choose to use that foot a lot more than you use the leg. And then return, so you have that oppositional pattern, right? Because not only is the focus on keeping your spine still when we're facing the floor, you were also focusing on opposite arm and leg, or one leg at a time, right? Or one hand at a time. Easy. That's right. 3 more here. Push and drive up. 2. Push the shoulder down. And I have a lot of videos about how to perform this side plank kind of thing. A lot, so you can look to those videos for more information about how to do that correctly. Now, of course, we have to face the floor behind us as well. Now, you can choose to lay on your back with your feet in the air, right? You can lift up one foot at a time here. That's another different version of bird dog. You can also choose to lift the opposite arm and leg, because you are using your arms here a bit for support, right? Letting your head rest. Try not to press your head down. The focus here is to not let the hips slowly go lower, 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 right? You gotta push the floor down. So let's try it together. Hips down, pressure your feet down, drive the hips up. The focus is on pushing the floor down with the foot that stays. The leg that lifts is shockingly not the focus. Focus on pushing the floor down with the foot that stays down. Doesn't matter what the other leg does. The focus is on keep the hips up, keeping the hips still. Easy breathe as much as you can. Push the floor down strongly versus taking your mind to the leg that's lifting. You're focusing on what stays on the floor, because that's really what presses your hips up here. Breathe deeply. You're pushing the floor down strongly, not out away from you, down, as if your foot's on a button that can only depress downwards, not a switch that pushes outwards. Breathe deeply. One more time. Again, control. Hips down. Really good job. You can just feel how the challenge of not rotating your body is really, really foundational to your health. Push your feet down, lifts up. And again, you can add the opposite arm lifting as well of leg. Opposite arm and leg, hips not rotating or lifting. You may not feel quite the same amount of shift and challenge level right here, but you'll feel it's subtle. You're using your arms a bit here to help you. You can also choose to use no arms, right? That's a different variation, right? You can also reach the same side arm down as leg that lifts for a bit more support here, right? So as I lift one leg up, the same side arm comes down. So now the opposite arm and leg are on the floor, right? So as the same side arm and leg move, you have the opposite arm and leg on the floor. I know it's a lot of words, a lot of thinking. Easy breathe. One more here. 4. Excellent work. Breathe. 3. Very good work there. Breathe. 2. One more time. 1. You got it. Hips down. Arms wide apart. Let your knees twist. Feet stay on the floor where they were. They just rock to the side. You can always put a cushion or towel under your head here. Even if your hips are going up, if you prefer it with a little cushion under your head, that's fine. As long as your neck and throat feel comfortable and not compromised. Easy, but it shouldn't be threatening feeling. And return one more each way. Take your time. Breathe deeply. Really great job here. And again, easy rotate. Really great job. roll over to your side, right? We're gonna go back to our side version as like a palate cleanser. So again, I'm using the elbow that's on the floor, push the floor away strongly, and the opposite foot. This other leg can be down. It can also be straight, right? That doesn't matter. Breathe deeply as much. It's a bit harder for most people with a straight leg. But I'm still focusing on this foot that stays on the floor to push. 3 more. Push to draw up. 3. Eyes and chest facing forward. Push the floor down. 2. Excellent work there. One more time. Push. You got it. And flip around. Really good work here. Again, so it's the opposite elbow and foot that I'm focusing on. The leg that's on the floor, I'm not really focusing on that one to first for pushing, right? 4. Take it out. Again, that knee can be bent as well. No big deal. 3. Control. Again, we want to strengthen the side as much as you do the front and back. Breathe deeply. 2. So again, while it doesn't look like a traditional bird dog, it does have the same kind of concept. I'm trying to keep my spinal integrity as much as I can. It does start in a side bend, going to hopefully less of a side bend, but there's little ways around that, right, without having the hips out in the air to start. Now, another variation you could do, you can of course do all those things in like a more full plank in terms of arms and legs straight, but a better version that more people would do good to practice on would be to bend one knee forward and lift the opposite side arm up, right? Keeping my body still, one knee forward, opposite arm, toes on the floor, right? Notice that I'm not shifting side to side here very deeply. So my weight's not going onto the leg that stays straight. I'm staying even between my legs as my toes stay on the floor, right? This is a really good practice for saying I'm staying still between my moving appendages, right? Now, you can also choose to lift the toes up off the floor, but you're going to shift over to the standing leg without pressing the hip out to the side, right? Return, so it's opposite arm and leg, and you're shifting on to the leg. Toes can tap the floor, tap it a bit if you need to, and then return, right? You shift on to the standing leg here. You can feel that that floor work we did will help you have a sense of where your body alignment is without looking at it over time. First, couple weeks maybe, may be difficult to have that sense, but once you understand you don't want the hips to go out either on your hands and knees or other places, right? You'll feel it when you're standing. Oh, I can feel my hip going out to the side there. That awareness will translate over time with practice, right? You can also choose for the leg to go behind you as well. Same kind of principle, right? That's nice. Easy. Really good. Right? The toes can stay on or off the floor. Again, I recommend that you keep your body weight between your legs if you can, if the stays on the floor, just for that awareness. And as the leg lifts, you can then shift off, or you can choose to shift your weight, then move the leg as well. Right? In case that's not clear, I can choose to shift my weight and then move the leg, then return to 2 legs. I can shift, then move, right? That's a decision you can make. Or I can stay, move the leg, and then shift to lift the foot up. Those are all great. It's a little bit different when you go back. You can also choose to reach the opposite arm and leg out to the side, right? Because again, you want to think about your body in those planes of motion, front, back, and side, and make sure you're getting stimulation as much as you can. Again, the toes stay on the floor. And this one, as the leg goes out, the further the leg goes out, the more you're going to shift onto the opposite side standing leg, right? So the further the one leg goes away from you, you have to shift your weight onto the standing leg more, even if the toes stay on the floor. That's just how it works. Breathe deeply. Easy, right? These are all great variations to practice of a bird dog, right? That sort of opposite arm and leg. What is your body doing? Where are your joints aligning? Really healthy to do for your long-term well-being. There you go. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Eric. This is Nucleus Strength. I look forward to getting stronger with you in the future. Yours in good health. Take care.